Good Monday morning. It is Monday morning motivation once again, and it feels good to be back.
It does,
It was
doesn't
weird
it?
not being here last week,
Yeah.
so we are happy to be here. I'm happy to have my coffee.
Yes.
So thank you guys so much for hanging out, tuning in. Sorry about the being out of pocket last week, but we were busy, and we are glad to be here with you guys today. If you are brand new to the channel, my name is Chris, better known as Chris Cooking Nashville here on YouTube. I am a proper human diet recipe creator and currently in the process of becoming a cookbook author. And we create tools and tips and tricks and all kinds of things to try to help people use the proper human diet to take back their life. I've lost about 130 pounds doing this and still working on continuing to fix my metabolic health and lose the last of the extra weight and all of the various things that come along with the horrible diet that I used to eat. So that's why we are here and we do Monday morning motivation to try to give you guys a motivating start to the week and give you some tips and tricks and just things to help you know that you are not losing control and you are not crazy, that you think you might be struggling with a few things. So for those of you who don't know her, this is my beautiful wife, Ash Taylor.
Very sweet.
The amazing country artist. You guys go to ashtaylor.com and also make sure to go over to her YouTube channel and subscribe because we have music videos and she has music on Spotify and all sorts of things that she does. So you got to go check her out because truthfully between the two of us, she's the one that has all of the cool stuff going on. So
I don't think that's true.
yeah. Now, how much weight have you lost on keto?
I have lost 110 pounds. Yeah.
That's incredible.
It is. And so many other health benefits, not even related to just losing the excess weight, but
The weight is great, but all of the other stuff is honestly way better.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
And, I think that's kind of why you started the YouTube channel, and I think that's kind of why I've gotten involved, is just, it may not be my day job necessarily to be a YouTuber, but it's something important because I think I see the benefit of it in my own life and in others. So we're very happy. And by the way, before we get too deep into things, happy Memorial Day, everybody.
Yes.
So
happy Memorial Day, and great time to remember all the people that have sacrificed so much so that we have the freedom to be able to do things like sit here and do live streams and talk about keto and carnivore and proper human diet food.
We can eat the way that we choose to eat. We can, so many blessings because of the brave men and women. So
absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. So.
Do you want to say some hellos?
Let's say some hellos. Folks? Let's see who's here, and then we're going to dive into what I think is going to be a very interesting topic, and I'm just going to give you guys a perspective that I think will hopefully help you this week. So
I love it.
Let's say hello to some people, and then we'll dive in.
Awesome. So Carrie's here, says pulling
Hi,
the
Carrie.
boat up to the live stream. This is awesome. It looks like Lynn Sprong
Hello,
just
Lynn.
became a new YouTube member.
Oh, well, thank you so much for joining us here on the YouTubes.
That's awesome. Maritza Garza is here.
Hello, Maritza. Good to see you, my friend.
We have the beautiful Mr. Jeffrey Cox.
Ah, what's going on, Jeff?
He says, good morning, my beautiful PhD partners. Even on holiday, we will be tuning unlive. Gotta make that sweet double pay today. Daddy needs a new pair of ribeyes. Much love to you two and Mel, the PDD dog.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes, I love that. Proper diet dog.
That's awesome. Mel's laying right here at Chris's feet. I love it. Our neighbor, Richard Williams is in the house.
Hello, neighbor in Copperhill.
Yes. Richard says he's going to watch the replay later. Just wanted to pop in and say hi.
Awesome. We'll enjoy.
The beautiful Lynn, 22
Hello,
Cat is
Lynn.
here. We love Lynn. Sherry Nevada Cup is here.
Hi, Sherry. Good to see you.
Yeah, says good morning, all my lovelies. Coffee is brewing.
Love it.
Yes. Lewis Stone says howdy, all
What's
y'all.
up, Lewis?
We love Lewis. Mr. Barry Williams is in the
What's
house.
up, Barry, my brother?
Absolutely. And this is awesome. Our friend Carnivore Coach Lisa is here.
Oh, hi, Lisa.
So glad you're here. We love her.
Yeah, good to see you.
Blue Diamond Bill is here.
Hello, Bill.
It says good morning from Fort Worth, Texas.
Yes, good to see you, my friend.
And Barbara Stokes is watching on Facebook, says
Hello, Barb.
so very true.
Yes,
So-
absolutely.
Well, honey, why don't you start preaching your gospel?
Okay. All right,
I'm
all
for
right.
it, yeah.
We'll start preaching about what is so true that Barb was talking about.
Yeah.
So, the subject matter here, the title of this is "You're Not Failing, You Were Set Up," and the subject matter I just wanted to touch on with you guys today is I think all of us need to understand when it comes to taking control of metabolic health and learning about all of this, there are several layers that we need to consider. And if you guys didn't see, I put up a post yesterday, and it was all about being encouraging and seeing people who are struggling, especially maybe people who are struggling and then they receive judgment for it. And, as a community, we really need to be able to stand up for people who are struggling, who are trying to fix their metabolic health, who are looking for answers, looking for help. And I think one of the things we really need to be able to help communicate to people, especially if you're one of these people and you don't already know this live stream is for you. For the rest of us who maybe do already know this live stream is important because we need to be able to communicate this to others. You are not failing as a human being. You were set up. And what does that mean exactly? We want you guys to understand what it is we're all actually fighting against right now. And when it comes to food, when it comes to our health, all of these different things that we are struggling against, you need to understand where that's all coming from, right? How did we get to this point where so many people are struggling? Because this is something Dr. Barry has talked about in live streams that really caught my attention when he said this, and he was like, why, throughout all of human history, have humans figured out how to eat and had no problems and we've survived? And why do all of the other animals on the planet survive and not have things like weight issues, metabolic health issues, all this kind of stuff until they start eating human food? Mm. And he was talking about this, and he's like, only in the last, 1 to 200 years, really, has it gotten so bad and so out of control. And the thing that I think we need to understand is that our bodies, our DNA is designed to know how to be healthy when you put the right stuff in. So why are so many of us unhealthy? Well, it's because we're not putting the right stuff in. But if that's not the right stuff, why are we putting it in? Mm. Why are we not only putting it in and eating all of this stuff that's not good, but why do we seem to have such a hard time stopping? Right? So there's a couple of points here, talking points that I had written down that I want to kind of touch on. But there's a couple of things that you guys really need to understand, and this is something Ash and I work to try to remember ourselves. First of all of the junk that we're all so used to eating, it's being pushed on us, right? Everything, first of all, is about convenience. everything is about convenience. I'm going to move the microphone closer.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Would you? Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. 2 seconds. I turned the mic volume up, but they're saying it's still really hard to hear us. So, will you guys go ahead and tell me as we talk? Is that better for you guys? I'm gonna say we'll crank it on up.
Let's give that a try.
Is that good? Can you guys hear us?
Yeah.
1 2 1 2 1 2.
Okay. So, first of all of the stuff, all of the junk that we eat, all of these different things that we are putting in our bodies, most of this stuff is created by companies that are marketing to you based on convenience, right? We have gotten to a point where we expect food to take 3 to 5 minutes to make.
Yeah.
And, and I find this is really interesting sometimes. If you are one of those people that says, oh, I don't like doing all of these recipes or things that you do because they take so long, which you don't have to do the recipes. If you don't want to do the recipes, that's fine. But if your reason for not wanting to do the recipes is because they take a really long time, I've had people tell me, like, oh, I'd rather just go to the store and get some ground beef because it's way easier. In which my response to that is, have you ever had to chase down an animal, kill it with your hands or some kind of a tool that you have created, transport it back to your home, usually by carrying it or cutting it into pieces or whatever, processing that animal, cooking that animal? Like, when you actually go that far along the lines of, like, what's ancestrally appropriate and all this kind of stuff, food was actually never something that was easy for us. Ever. Food has always required a great deal of time and effort and energy and work to get to it, which is one of the reasons we needed nutrient-dense food like animal fat and animal protein, because you needed dense nutrition because of how much work it took to get it in the first place.
Yeah.
Right? So plants and grains and all this kind of stuff, they may have been used as survival foods, but you didn't get enough nutrition for that to be the ultimate thing you were chasing after. So things like ground beef in a styrofoam package didn't exist 100 years ago, right? Like, we had to raise or chase down, kill and store and preserve and process and all this kind of stuff, all of the animals that we ate. And it took so much work to do that. So for one, everything that you're eating is being marketed to you because of convenience, because companies know that you are living busy, stressful lives, because that's what modern society has started to pressure us into doing. And so they are marketing the fact that you're busy, you're stressed out, you want something easy. So here's something cheap and here's something easy that takes you 3 minutes to make. And as a result of that, we've basically just sold our freedom of food choice, this last 6 inches of freedom right here, we have sold that for a few bucks and some convenience. Okay, so we've given up total control of how we do this kind of stuff. This is why it's important to vote with your dollars. Go buy high quality things from either companies that truly do it right, even if maybe it's a little more expensive to do it right, or from local farmers, local ranchers. Like, however it is you want to get your stuff, you need to vote with your dollars and not buy the convenience crap foods. Okay, so that's number one. So you're being set up by companies that know your life is busy and stressful, and they're trying to convince you that you shouldn't have to work for food in any way, shape, or form, that somehow that's inappropriate and wrong. And I'm here to tell you that's just not ancestrally appropriate. Like, doing work for your food, even if all that means is it takes you 30 minutes in the kitchen to intentionally use whole one ingredient things to cook a meal, that is a really important thing to do, because if it comes out of a package and you can throw it in a microwave, it's probably full of junk. Okay, so you've been set up by convenience. The next thing you've been set up, all of those foods that are convenient, and even a lot of the ones that aren't convenient, that are all here and available everywhere you go, and the things we're told to eat, all this kind of stuff. A lot of that stuff is filled with carbohydrate junk and extra sugar and lots of grains and lots of inflammatory stuff and seed oils and chemicals and preservatives and dyes and MSG and all of these different things that are not good for us, right? Why do companies pump that stuff full of extra sugar and extra chemicals and extra, weird flavorings and things that make it just a massive explosion in your brain when you eat these things? They do that because it's addictive, right? Food has become so addictive because companies don't care whether you live or die from eating their food. They only care that so long as you're alive, you come and spend as much money on their food as they can convince you to, right? And I'm not even saying that they do that in a nefarious way. That's what companies are for, is to make money off of the things that they're selling or creating. That's their job. That doesn't mean that they're trying to harm you because they have something against you. They're just de facto harming you because by making things that are not good for you and are addictive and taste really good, you keep buying more and more and more, and their profits go up and up and up.
Mm.
So now, are there people out there that have nefarious intentions? Maybe. I mean, it depends on how deep into conspiracy theories you really want to get, I suppose. But even if there are, I think a majority of people who are doing this stuff, they're not really sitting there thinking that they're harming people. They're just sitting there thinking about numbers on pages, trying to figure out how to make those numbers go up.
Mm.
And their loyalty and their concern is not to your metabolic well-being. It's to the profits of the shareholders that own the company they're working for. So companies fill all of these foods with extra sugar. And not just that it has sugar in it already, they put extra sugar in there, right? Corn syrup and all different kinds of sugars. And then they put in seed oils because they're cheap and they're kind of addictive and inflammatory themselves, but they're just cheap and easy to make things that sit on the shelf for months without going bad when you use seed oils. You see companies putting in artificial food dyes because they're trying to make it colorful and everything pizzazz looking so that it lights up not only your taste buds but your visual cues of your brain. And that stuff is horrible, horrible. I mean, look at the work that's going on with the Maha movement where they're trying to remove all of these dyes from the food because they're all linked to things like cancers and dementia and everything else. So they're putting all that stuff in. They put in all of these crazy like MSG, salts, umami boosters, whatever. And salt is not bad for us, but when you get all of these artificial chemicals that cause unnatural levels of MSG and weird reactions in your brain, it makes food excessively savory and very addictive in that way. That's lighting up your brain. So essentially, they're filling your food with chemicals that is lighting up your brain, and it's worse than cocaine.
Mm.
Right? There's already studies out there. Like you can go research and find all the studies on this. Sugar lights up your brain and is more addictive than cocaine. So when we say we're a sugar addict, we're not kidding. Like it's a real thing. And it's not even that a little bit of sugar ending up in our diet would have been something that never happened in the past, right? Like sure, I'm sure humans would eat fruit and honey and things when they could find it. But think about before the Industrial Revolution and before, especially before we started doing, this whole like cultivating fruits and hybridizing things intentionally and growing things on a corporate scale and all this and shipping fruit all around the world. You didn't have access to fruit year round. And when you did have access to it in season, you had access to what little bit you could fight the animals off and keep the animals away from eating. And that was the only thing you ever got. Like a little tiny bit, maybe a few berries you could find in the wild. Maybe a couple of times in your life you'd find a honey tree and you'd eat the honey, right? So we're eating millions of times more sugar probably than people 200, 300 years ago would have, right? And that is causing this massive addictive issue because it's lighting our brain up like cocaine. Mm. Really bad. So you have been set up by the chemical addiction that is coming from this food, right? That is the kind of stuff that you're battling against. So when you are trying to do keto, you're trying to do carnivore, you're trying to eat a proper human diet with whole one ingredient type foods, maybe make a few of my recipes for fun, right? When you're trying to do this, you are not fighting against the idea of just the social element of what's around you and what you're being told and all this kind of stuff. You are fighting the logistical issues of trying to make food from scratch and do things in a world where you are being told you have to do all of these things and you have to be a part of all of this stuff and this is the way things work, and oh, by the way, here's convenience food that will give you the time to be able to do that. So you're fighting against the convenience that's being marketed to you with all of this junk. You are also fighting against the physical chemical addiction in your brain of eating sugar and chemicals and seed oils and MSGs and dyes and all of this kind of stuff. And all of that stuff has been linked to behavioral issues in kids, cancer, dementia, inflammation, diabetes. Like, I mean, all of the research is there. This is the reason that, like, RFK and the Maha thing, like, politics aside, we're not talking politics here. The fact that they're all talking about that and they're fighting it, the platform they're coming from, whether you agree or disagree, the platform they're coming from is that this has all been put in our food system and it is ruining people's lives. And they're using research that shows it's actually happening, right? So that is what we are fighting against. So when you're trying to do this stuff and it's like, I'm failing, my diet is failing, my health is going downhill, like all this kind of stuff, you're not failing. You were set up to fail at doing this because when you fail at succeeding in this, I'm going to take back my health approach, you end up falling back into a pattern where you spend money on the junk you're addicted to. Mm. So I want you guys to think about that. When you fail, quote unquote, when you fail at keto and carnivore and proper human diet, and your health is not in your own control, who profits off of that? Who benefits? Right? Because if you failed and your health fell apart and nobody made any money, don't you think somebody would figure out how to help you fix your health so they could make money? Mm-hmm. It's kind of the way the world works. So if you're failing, and there's all of these things that are all around you that are set up to make you fail, when you quote unquote fail, who profits? Who profits from your failure on a proper human diet? I can think of a few people. Mm-hmm. Big food companies that sell you convenience and addictive products because you go and you buy all their junk.
Yeah.
Big pharma, because now you need medication to deal with the symptoms of the metabolic issues you have with the diabetes and the cancer and the dementia and the pain and the suffering and the blood pressure issues and the cholesterol problems and your triglycerides are out of control and on and on and on and on and on, right? Mm-hmm. Big government.
Yeah.
Because big food companies and big pharma companies have lobbyists that go and work with all of these government agencies to try to get all of this stuff passed and try to get all these things mandated through governmental agencies and get things passed into law that end up benefiting them. And then suddenly you realize people in the government also have shares in all of these big food companies and they are involved on the board or they are like, follow the money, right? Yeah. Big food, big pharma, big government is profiting from the fact that you are unhealthy, you are failing, you are struggling to stick to a proper human diet. If you instead succeed at sticking to a proper human diet and you reverse all of your metabolic health issues and you fix all of these problems, who profits? You, because of the life-changing thing that happens to you where you are physically capable, you are mentally capable, your brain fog goes away, you feel good, you can think for yourself, you can work hard, you can change your family's life, you can go out and pursue the things that make you happy. Who else profits? Mm-hmm. Small ranchers that have cattle that they can sell, eggs that they can sell, maybe some low-carb veggies if you're into that kind of thing that they grow and they sell,
Sure.
right? So your small local community, your local ranchers, people who are just trying to take care of their families too,
Mm-hmm.
who don't have the things to be big food, big pharma, and big government,
Mm-hmm.
right? Local businesses, your local government, because you can now be involved and think clearly enough to go get involved in things, and you can change things and make differences. So basically, the only people who profit are within your immediate circle. And the big companies and the big food, pharma, government type people, all who make billions of dollars off of you, well, they'd all start to lose all the money. And all of your local communities would start to thrive.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what you wouldn't need anymore? Big food, big pharma, and the influence of big government on how you should be eating on a daily basis. So the people that have the power and the money would lose the power and the money if you succeeded at a proper human diet. So again, I'm going to say this. You are not failing. You were set up. And again, I'm not saying that that's even a nefarious thing. And maybe it is. I don't know those people's hearts and intentions. I'm not in their mind. But even if it's not a nefarious thing, the system is set up for people to make money and have power when you are sick and addicted and struggling. Because when you break out of that and you take back control and you have the ability to eat what you want, feel good, go work hard, go do all the things that make you successful, support your local community, you vote with your dollars, who profits off of that? On at least a big corporate level? Nobody. You cannot. This is something Dr. Barry has said, because he's really involved in like local government type things here in Tennessee and trying to help people on that side of things. And he has said this, and I totally agree with him on this. You cannot monetize a proper human diet. Not on a big global scale. Because when you're eating locally raised, locally created, whole one ingredient foods that are appropriate for a human species, the only people that profit off of that are you and that one person you went and got it from. Those are the only people that benefit. So how in the world would anybody who wants money, power, control, influence, any of these things that we're set up in our corporate system to chase after because that's how companies profit, who there would ever do anything to try to make a proper human diet grow and to make it successful, to make you successful? Because them doing something like that to make you successful doesn't benefit them, it would benefit you. And like we said, companies like this are not in the business of sacrificing themselves to benefit you and your life and your family. Yeah. They're in the business of making money. That's what they're there for. It's the way our corporate system is set up. Right or wrong, it just is. So when you are struggling with these things, remember that you are not failing. You were set up. Now, does that excuse going out and eating 10 boxes of chocolate chip cookies? No. That's still going to impact your health regardless. It doesn't matter what you do. You're not going to get around the fact that that is doing that to you. And I want to encourage all of you to use a proper human diet to fight against those addictions, to get away from those things. But there's a difference between knowing you need to fight to change it and constantly chasing after that every day. That's a good thing. There's a difference between that and then beating yourself up if you don't do it perfectly. And if you fight and if you struggle. Because again, you're not failing. You were set up. So don't beat yourself up for struggling. But recognize you're struggling. And recognize why. and then take control of your life and have the confidence to go out and say, I don't need any of this. And every time I choose to have it, I'm putting money back in the pockets of people who profit off of my suffering. So, is that going to make it easy? No. Beating an addiction is difficult no matter what you do. That's just part of it. That this is where we are. We could all sit and complain and cry about it all day long, but it's not going to change anything. And I would be right there complaining and crying with you because I have an addiction issue just as much as anybody with these things. But sitting around and bemoaning the fact that it exists isn't going to help us change it. But what will help us change it is fighting against it, getting the word out there, and when we're not doing it perfectly, saying, okay, give myself some grace, stand back up, and go at it again. And don't stop and don't give in to this. Chase relentlessly your health every single day. And use a proper human diet, not just to make yourself feel better, but to fight against the very ideas that food should be used to profit off people like that. There's nothing wrong with selling food and making money and making a living. Fine, whatever, restaurants do it every day. I'm a recipe creator. I'm a chef. That's literally how I make a living, is creating food and having people, watch. So there's nothing wrong with people getting paid. I'm fine with that. The problem is when you profit on a huge scale at the expense of the good health of other people. And I'm not even saying that it's one particular person's fault or that someone should be somehow held responsible for that happening. It's not even about that. It's about the fact that this is happening, and you are the only one that has power to remove yourself from that game. The way you win that game against the corporations that are doing that is by not playing. Because if you stop buying the junk and you start buying things from either companies that you're comfortable with what they're doing and you think they're doing it sustainably in an appropriate way that's proper human diet approved, or you just go find a local rancher and you just get it there, don't get it from companies, get it directly from people, that's really ideal, right? If you start doing that and you start taking money out of the pockets of large food corporations, Kraft Heinz and Frito-Lay and Coca-Cola and all these kinds of things, you start taking millions and then eventually billions of dollars away from them because you say, nah, we don't want to be abused for profit anymore. You start doing that kind of stuff, and people are going to end up completely flipping the script. And you start to take away their power and their control. Because food being in your control and you voting with your dollars is going to force large companies to actually pay attention to the fact that this is a real thing. And it's important that we actually make this point with people. So, you guys are not failing, nor am I failing. You were set up. So knowing that you were set up, don't fall into the trap and don't play the game. You have any thoughts on that?
I think you basically said it all, babe. I mean, truthfully, I think it's something just, interesting to kind of keep in the forefront of your mind. And I think it kind of, like you said, I think sometimes we can beat ourselves up and it's like, man, why am I so addicted to this? Or why am I so addicted to that? And I think just knowledge is power. So understanding why we may be addicted to certain foods or why we may have certain things is, just part of a missing puzzle piece. So I totally agree. I think a lot of it too is just taking back control for yourself. So if you kind of know and understand, like, this is how the system is set up and this is kind of what you're up against, it kind of should encourage you to hopefully, just kind of stop and think of a second about your own self. And like you said, it's like that last 6 inches of freedom and kind of how you have to make that decision for yourself on, is this something off plan that I want to eat? Is this something that causes me to go off the rails? it's really, really interesting.
Right.
So yeah, I totally agree. If you want to go ahead and get through the comments.
I would,
here?
yeah. Let's talk about some comments. By the way, guys, do me a favor and drop into the comments because I would love to see this. As we have talked about all of this, whether it was right now in this live stream or whether you've been doing this for a while and you know all of this and you're just kind of here supporting this movement and helping me as we try to get this information out to people who don't know, what was your aha moment? What was your, like, eyes open, I'm starting to understand this moment? When did you realize, you're right, I'm not failing. I haven't been failing my entire life. I have been set up and I'm trying to change things. I'm trying to flip the script. I'm trying to believe that I can be healthy because I'm not fighting against my own shortcomings. I'm fighting against a system that set me up to be addicted and to be at the mercy of these things. When was your aha moment? What happened? What caused you to realize that? Drop that in the chat, not just for us, but for anyone else who is watching, to see how all of us have come to this knowledge, what it is that has made a difference in our lives.
Do you have an aha moment that you can pinpoint?
I think for me, I think there are a couple. One was when I first started watching Dr. Barry's videos before we went keto the first time. And I started to recognize this binge eating addictive tendency in myself. And I still didn't want to admit that I had an addiction. But I started to recognize the tendency of me to like way overeat and be super addicted to this food. And I was just like, man, what if there was some answer out there that made me not feel out of control? It was the first time I ever thought about, what if there was something I could do with what I'm putting in my body that would give me back the control? So that was one. And then I think my second aha was, and you know exactly the day I'm talking about, the first time I did Carnivore.
Yep.
And we had that conversation about something is different about you. And I recognized that as inflammation and things were going out of my body and things were changing for me, suddenly I was like, is this what it's like to be a regular human being? And I think for the first time I realized I'd lived for a long time not being normal.
Yeah.
No, at least not the way that I think we were created to be. So I don't think the Lord created us to be inflamed and brain foggy and way overweight and metabolically unhealthy. Our bodies weren't created for that. Like, we're not perfect. The fall of creation sort of ruined that. So we're not perfect, and our bodies are going to wear down no matter what we do, and eventually you're going to pass on. But
yeah,
I think while we are here, we're supposed to feel good and have energy, and I think we have screwed up what was created for us. And when I started to recognize that, I was like, well, what if we could figure out what we're supposed to put in that gets us back to the state of how God created us to be? And suddenly I was like, I'm on Carnivore, and it's like, I think I'm headed in the direction, because suddenly I'm noticing I'm becoming who I've wanted to be for a long time. Ash will tell you I'm a completely different person now than I was when she first met me.
Definitely.
Completely different person.
Yeah, totally.
And in really good ways. And I mean, truthfully, I am now is a lot more of who I always wanted to be. I just didn't feel like I had any emotional or mental stability and control to be that person, like, willingly.
Yeah.
It was like I was just fighting it every day. So I've become a lot more than I ever could have been. So
yeah.
Without changing my diet. So what about you? Did you have an aha moment?
I think for myself it was probably a month in on keto. I felt my anxiety and depression kind of go away. Didn't realize how anxious I was all the time.
Right.
Losing weight, having energy. I had my cycle return, which is something no other diet could give me.
Yeah.
Then seeing you go carnivore, and that day where I was like, who the hell are you? What are you doing, buddy?
Right.
But yeah, and I think something too, like it's also... It doesn't happen overnight per se, but I think something that's really interesting is how much we have changed even after that aha moment.
Yeah.
So
we continue to evolve not evolve in terms of like I'm turning
not
into
evolution,
a new animal, not evolution. We continue to evolve through our proper human diet journey and become more and more metabolically healthy in who we are. And this is one of those things, you still see the comments online, and you guys will get this too. If you're on Carnivore, why are you still overweight? Or, these kinds of things. These conversations happen regularly. And it's important to recognize there are more important things than just weight.
Mm-hmm.
And there is stuff going on inside my body and inside my brain no one on the outside would ever see.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to lose the extra weight I still have. But even if I never lost another pound, I would still do exactly what I'm doing because who I am is so much more fulfilling of a human being than I ever was without this.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's so many things you can't see that have to do with your metabolic health. And those are the things that honestly are way better than weight loss.
Yeah.
Having a six-pack is great, but getting to wake up every day and not feel like I want to just go jump off a building, that's amazing.
Yes. Absolutely.
So.
Well, hey, I want to jump into the comment section.
Yeah, let's see. I got a bunch of people watching, it looks like.
Yes, and if you guys haven't, by the way, please hit the thumbs up
Yes,
button.
please hit the thumbs up and let us know you're here, especially if you're new to the channel. Drop it into the chat, say hello to us, and let us know you are new. And tell us about your proper human diet journey. What are your successes? What are your struggles? Let us celebrate with you. Let us support you through the difficult things, all of it. And if you need a place for extra support, linked in the description box is our private community, the band. If you want to go a little bit deeper and just kind of have a wonderful family surrounding you that can support you through things, celebrate with you, help you when you struggle, all of this, we're all in there. And we'll tell you a little bit more about that. But that is linked down below. So let's say hello to some folks and talk about some comments here.
Absolutely. Let's do it. We got some great questions and comments and all here. So let's see. So for starters, Always Be Kind is here.
Well, hello, Always Be Kind. I love that name.
I know, such a great name, such a great name. Also, the beautiful Miss Lynn is here. She says, missed you last week, but caught you in your live. Got my Chris and Ash fix.
Oh, you're very sweet, Lynn. We missed you too.
Yes, so sweet. This is so sweet. Beck says, Ash, you're so beautiful.
I agree. Isn't she gorgeous?
Yeah, you guys are just the best. Y'all are just so super sweet, and we really appreciate y'all. And then let's answer this question.
Yeah.
So Sandra wants to know, let's see if I can fix my screen here. Sandra wants to know, says, don't judge. Can I use prime protein grass-fed in place of whey protein for the 90-second bread recipe?
So I'm going to say that's a hard maybe. Okay, so one of the things that I've had this question a bunch on that video. One of the things you have to take into account with a recipe like that is that whey protein has protein, it has a few dairy carbs, and it has some fat. When you use something other than a whey protein concentrate, like a whey protein isolate or a beef protein or something else, all of that changes. The ratios all change. Usually beef protein, especially if it's like a beef protein isolate or something like a whey protein isolate or whatever, usually that has way less fat, if it has any, and it's not going to have the dairy carbs generally. If you're using something like an equip protein or other types of protein mixes, there can be other ingredients in there. So every time you start changing one of those things, you then change kind of how everything else works too. So my answer of can you use the protein, the prime protein, grass-fed protein stuff? Maybe. You may have to start tweaking things though. It's not going to be probably a 1-to-1 swap, right? Like it's not like you can say, oh, instead of using a tablespoon of whey, I'm going to use a tablespoon of prime protein. Maybe, but maybe not. And unless I can sit and work with every single one of them, I just can't say for sure. So this is why, like, you can try, but if it doesn't turn out very good, then, you know, unfortunately it's going to require tweaking and extra changes. That's why generally I suggest, ideally, don't try to make substitutions in my recipes, because I work to get them exactly the way they're supposed to be for a reason, and anytime you start substituting things, pretty much everything changes. And it's just unfortunately doing things like this. We are trying to do things with ingredients that the world does not really know how to make these ingredients do this stuff very easily. I'm trying to do really weird things with ingredients that don't normally do this. And when you start changing one thing, you mess up a really fine, delicate balance in every recipe. And maybe it works, but maybe it doesn't. And short of me sitting there and actually working with it myself, I can't say for sure. So you can try. It's probably going to come out dry, is my guess. Maybe greeny. And if it comes out dry and greeny, then you start having to play with like more fat less whey protein or less of the protein powder, more liquid, less liquid, additional ingredients. Like it's a whole chain reaction of things you then have to do. So the best answer I can give you is maybe. So I'm sorry I can't be more helpful than that.
Cool. Yeah, it's so interesting how, like, I've watched you do this, like, a bunch of times, and I'm like, ooh, it really is like a science.
Yeah.
Carrie says, I like Ash's hat.
Yeah,
It
me
is
too.
my Chris Cooking Nashville hat. If you guys want this hat, Chris has them for sale on his website.
I do. You can go to the website, and there's a shop on there. You can go and get hats and aprons and t-shirts
All kinds
and
of
all
stuff.
kinds of stuff. I think there might even be stickers on there. I can't remember. There's a whole bunch of stuff, and we're talking about creating some new merch soon. So
yeah, so just chriscookingnashville.com. But thank you, Carrie.
that's it. Linked in the description box for you too.
There you go. Miss Heidi is here.
Hello, Heidi.
She says, good morning, y'all. Happy Memorial Day.
Yes.
Yes, I just brewed a French press with butter and cream. So yummy.
Love it.
We got Low Carb Spin in the
Hi,
house.
Karen.
Marty Crumb's here.
Hello, Marty. We got to see Marty at Meat Stop.
We did. Oh, it was so good meeting him in person.
Yep,
He's
Marty
a sweet
is
man.
awesome.
Yes. Your dad is here.
Hello, Papa Nashville.
He's here. Cindy DeManch is in the house.
Hi, Cindy. We got to have lunch with Cindy and Brian on our way back from Knoxville.
We did. Don't
that
be
was
jealous,
wonderful.
guys. They are the sweetest people. We love them, adore them.
Yes.
Your mom is also watching.
Hello, Mama Nashville.
Says Mom and Dad here watching together for once. Hello to all. Happy Memorial Day. Paying honor to all those who gave their lives for our freedom. We owe a debt we cannot repay.
Amen.
Yes, absolutely. KJ, my Radical Healing Rebellion is
Hello,
here.
Hello, KJ.
Heidi says, I could use some prayers from the band. Was out camping this weekend and my hammock broke with me in it. And I broke my tailbone.
Oh, no, Heidi, I'm so sorry to hear that. Well, of course, we will pray that heals quickly. I am so sorry.
Yes, that is very painful.
It's no fun. Yeah, the tailbone is a rough spot to have injured in any way. So I'm so sorry, Heidi. Please rest and heal.
Yes, we'll definitely be praying for you. That is so sad. I hate to hear that. Tina Weber is here.
Hello, Tina.
She says, good morning. I'm catching my first live with you. I'm just starting Keto/Carnivore. So much to learn and know.
Well, Tina, I am so glad you are here. I'm so glad you are starting. Congratulations. This is the beginning of the rest of your life. It really is. And the community here is amazing. If you want even more support, we also have the band.
Yeah.
You're welcome to join. I have a free downloadable ebook on the website, which is all about keto and carnivore and kind of getting into it from the very beginning. So if you haven't yet, go over to my website and download that ebook. It's free. So enjoy and share it with people. There's some really cool links associated with that. And, of course, I have all kinds of different recipes to keep it fun and interesting while you start out, and if you need some tools to help transition, and we're here for you. So if you have questions, join us on our live streams every Monday, as long as we're not out of town, like we were this last week, 10 a.m. Central Time. Every Tuesday, tomorrow night we're doing this, every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central Time we go live and I cook, answer questions, and then of course we have the private community, we have a Facebook and the YouTube channel and Instagram. Like, you can come find us in so many places, and we're here to support you on your journey. So congratulations for starting. We're very glad you're here, Tina, and rock on, Tina. Everybody rock on for Tina in the comments. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's super cool. Super cool. I love that.
Yeah.
Mr. Dennis is here. We also got to hang out with Dennis too.
We got to have lunch with Dennis and Terry.
It's great. Again, more great people.
Amazing. What a beautiful human being Dennis is.
He is.
Terry too, but we already knew that because we'd already met Terry.
Dennis is our new friend.
Dennis showed up, and it was like, well, this is just a wonderful thing to sit here and get to know Dennis. So
Dennis is awesome, y'all.
Dennis is also one of the newest members of the band.
I know. I saw he just joined this morning. I think it
was. It was yesterday.
Oh.
We've had a couple of new people join the band within the last couple of weeks, and Dennis was one of them, and we were very excited when his name popped up.
Yeah, absolutely. We're glad you're here, Dennis. It's so good, man. Miss Peggy is here.
Hello, Peggy.
Regina Hart says, love you guys.
Oh, Regina, we love you too.
Yes. Linda D,
Hi,
2007
Linda.
Says, hi, everyone. Finally made it to another live.
We're glad you're here.
Let's see here. And we answered that question from Sandra. Darth Carnivore says, hey, Chris and Ash, listening in while I work out at the gym.
Hello, Charlie, another one of our band members. We've got a bunch of band members here today.
We do. Well, the band's growing.
The band is growing,
it's
and
great.
we're doing really cool stuff over there.
Yes. Janine is watching over on
Hello,
Facebook.
Janine. Good to see you.
Auntie is here with us.
Hello, Auntie.
Yes. And Cindy DeManch says, hit the thumbs up, folks.
Yes.
Chris, I am so very sorry you did not take first place in the favorite chef competition. You do deserve it.
Well, Cindy, I appreciate that. And while we're on that subject, Ash and I were talking about this. I want to let you guys know, if you've been voting for me in the favorite chef competition, we appreciate it. So we ended up getting second place in the quarterfinals. You had to get first in your group in the quarterfinals to move on to semifinals. So we did not move on, but it's a difficult thing. And honestly, even making it as far as we did means we were in the 1% of chefs in the nation.
Yeah.
I'm very humbled by the community, how you guys showed up and you voted and you shared and you tried to help move us on to the next round. Guys, we are not a community of a small niche fad diet group anymore. We are a big group of people that has a loud voice, and it's time that mainstream takes us seriously. Competing with the top 1% of chefs around the United States because of you guys showing up and voting for us. And here's the deal. I can't prove it. I'm pretty sure a lot of people who are advancing in that competition are buying their own votes. Ash and I did not buy a single vote, and we never asked anybody to buy a vote. And I know some people did because they wanted to help, and that was very appreciated. But we never bought a single vote, and we still got in the top 1% of chefs in the nation.
Yeah.
We are not a small, easy to ignore group anymore. The proper human diet is taking over, and we really want to see just how far into mainstream we can actually push this. So thank you guys for your support. It was a well-fought competition. I wish we could have made it all the way to the end, but that's all right.
There's always next year.
There's always next year.
There's always next year.
So,
I mean, yeah.
We appreciate and love you guys so much, and we are very humbled by how many of you showed up for us.
Yes, absolutely. Could not have said it better.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Blanche is here. Says,
Hi, Blanche.
Thank you for the amazing recipes. You two are fantastic and
Well,
encouraging.
Blanche, thank you for watching and supporting. If you guys weren't here and supporting what we do, we wouldn't have anybody to do it for.
That's
so,
true.
Thank you.
Very true. My big brother, Mr. Brandon Box, is watching on Facebook.
Hello, big brother. How are you?
Says good morning and happy Memorial Day.
Yes, sir.
Cheryl's here watching.
Hi, Cheryl.
We got Jackie watching.
Hello, Jackie.
Our friend from the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
And Lynn says, well, we don't really need contests to tell us who's the king in the kitchen. It's Chris.
Lynn,
that's not going to
sweet.
change.
You're so sweet, Lynn.
I tell him that all the time, and he goes, no, I'm not. And I'm like, stop. Yes, you are. Denise is here.
Hi, Denise.
I hope I'm saying your name right, my friend. Is it Ho Hang Ling? I probably butchered that.
Hoang Ling?
I think
maybe?
so. I think that's how we
something
say
like
it.
that. Listen,
Feel free to
I'm a
correct me.
redneck from Southeast
Yeah.
Indiana. I struggle to pronounce even the most simple names that I'm used to. So
Do you guys hear the coffee jingling in that
Yeah,
cup?
yeah.
It means we're not here all the way.
Yeah, yeah.
I love that. He says 3 years carnivore here. 63-year-old male. Love it. I will never change. I think about food and I love my steak, eggs, and bacon.
I love it.
That's awesome, man.
I love it.
Congratulations
Congrats.
to you.
3 years is awesome.
Yes, and welcome.
I'm just a little over 2 right now. So
Yep. That's so cool though. I love seeing people though that have been it for a couple years. It's
Yeah.
very, very encouraging, very motivating.
Absolutely, it's great.
And Lewis Stone is here. Really good point here. He says, I found it interesting how hard it is to find untrimmed tri-tip to cook this weekend. Most everyone had super lean, low-fat meat on display.
Yes, and isn't it interesting that fat is what is so good for our brains, and yet it's the thing that has been demonized for the last, 50 years.
Pretty incredible.
Crazy.
I want to say hey to Miss Lillian.
Hello, Lillian.
She is the sweetest. She
Yes.
says, hi there, it's me, Lillian. So glad I caught you in live this time.
We're so glad you're here, Lillian.
Yes. Tammy B is here.
Hi, Tammy.
She says, honestly, I've always been a home cook. I fell off the wagon around Mother's Day with cream cheese brownies. Mother's Day is not easy on me, I believe she says. Then I baked more brownies, got sick, and now I'm back.
Tammy, I understand, and here's the thing. You don't beat yourself up for it. You just go right back to what you need to do the next day.
Absolutely.
And that's what we do. We
Yep.
just keep going, and you just pretend it didn't happen. And I'm so sorry that things get difficult like that. And I totally understand you're struggling. The first thing we want to do is lean back into the food. And you know what?
Easy, yeah.
It happens. But in time, you'll get better and better and better at not doing that. But it just takes practice, and it takes hard work, and it's not easy, and there are times you may fall. But we are here as a community. We'll pick you right back up, and we'll keep going, and it's okay.
Yes,
Good for you for just working at it, and we just appreciate you being here.
Absolutely. Darth Carnivore, I love this comment, says, addiction is a great revenue model.
It is. It is, absolutely.
I could not agree more.
Absolutely. Ask any of the drug dealers in the world how well it works.
Yeah, pretty dang well.
Just,
Yeah. Evelyn is here.
Hello, Evelyn.
She is the sweetest.
Yes.
And, Caleb, I think him and I would get along just fine. He says, I think they are intentionally poisoning us. I do consider myself a conspiracy theorist, by the way. Me too, Caleb. We'll talk more offline, Caleb.
That's right.
Good stuff. But hey, glad you're here, Caleb. So cool.
Good to see you, buddy.
Yeah. Mr. Sean Bradley's in the house.
Hello, Sean.
Andrew Lee is watching from Nome, Alaska.
Well, hello, Andrew. I think that's a new name.
Yeah, so glad you're here, my friend.
Good to see you, my friend.
Yeah. And Risa's Cluttered Kitchen is in
hello,
the house.
Risa.
She's awesome. Mr. Dustin is here, the beard.
Hello. The beard is in the house,
yes.
And I see a $2 super chat there. You, sir, are a scholar and a gentleman.
To the max, sir.
Yes.
To the max. So
yes,
glad you're here.
Love and hugs to you, too.
Yes. Platte River Keto says, good morning,
hello.
friends.
Good to see you, my friend.
Yes, so glad you're here. And then Jackie says, interesting ideas. Maybe an evolution of the supermom idea/trap that women were sold. Impossible to have it all. Work 40 to 60 hours a week, volunteer, PTA, soup kitchens, and effectively nurture children.
Yeah, if you think about the lifestyle we try to live and the things that we are pressured to do on a weekly basis, because, well, that's what you're supposed to do. That's normal, right? Compare that to what we did 200 years ago.
Yeah.
Not a single thing was ever set up this way for human beings.
Agreed.
Ever. This is the only time in history we have been this busy, this stressed, and this unhealthy.
I agree.
Just saying.
Yeah. Sean Bradley says this is awesome, says, the only thing that they can push on you is a statin, because no one can hit those ridiculous numbers that they say you should be at without one.
And when you go and do the research and you realize those numbers aren't based on anything factual, it's almost like they need to use numbers to sell something that we don't need.
Yeah, absolutely.
What a concept.
Yeah. Crystal Mayberry is here in
hello,
the house.
Crystal. Good to see you.
Sean also says, it's all about money. I call it nefarious because they only worry about money and not your health.
I agree. They're in it for profits.
Absolutely.
They're in it for profits. And here's the deal. We don't have to try to change that. We just change what's going on so that we don't have to be the guinea pig for them to profit off of.
Absolutely, yes. John Wise also says, hunters and gatherers did not have 365-day access to berries like we do. We were meant to eat mostly meat and occasionally berries.
I totally agree. I think if you eat fruit, veggies, any of that kind of stuff in the amounts of in your lifetime that would have been appropriate 300 or 400 years ago, it probably wouldn't cause any problems. Now, I'm super metabolically unhealthy because of decades of doing terrible things to my body. So for me, fruit needs to be even more limited than that, probably. And I'm not super strict with my carnivore. Every now and then I have a little bit of veggie, or I have a little bite of some berries, or things like that. And every once in a while, like on our anniversary, I had a not proper human diet meal.
Yeah.
Because I'm an adult and I can intentionally make that choice if I want. I'm not recommending you do it. I'm just being transparent about the fact that I occasionally do it.
Chris is a grown man in a free country.
I'm a grown man in a free country, and when it's our anniversary, I like doing things like having ice cream for dessert.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, there we go.
Absolutely.
But if you are metabolically generally healthy, I think, fruit in the amounts that would have been ancestrally appropriate is probably not going to cause any issues whatsoever.
Oh yeah, thumbs up to that.
But that is just not what we are doing to our bodies anymore.
Agreed.
So.
Agreed. I love this comment. Nolene Clark is here. She's watching on Facebook. Says, wow, I hear you. I know I was definitely a chocoholic, but I'm getting better since I started doing keto and following Southern Keto, Victor. Watching from Ireland.
Yeah.
Love it. Absolutely.
Southern Keto, my buddy Victor, he and Dustin and I do a thing called Keto Crusades. And, it's interesting. Victor And Dustin and I, all three, have our different styles and different vibes and different viewpoints on things, but we have a overall, generally the same view that the proper human diet spectrum is the way for people. And we work to try to show people that we can all come together as a community. And even though all three of us have a different style of doing this, we love each other.
Yeah.
And we support each other. And that's what we just want to see everybody do. We don't have to agree on all of the details to have the general consensus that the proper human diet spectrum is generally where we need to land.
Yes,
and then we all work together, and we share what we learn, and we share what we do, and what's working and what's not, and all of these things.
Absolutely. This is awesome. Crystal Mayberry says, we plan to go make friends with the rancher down the road.
Yes, that is the best thing you can do. Make friends with a rancher, make friends with a butcher, make friends with someone that has chickens, someone that has a good garden, like any of these things, you know?
Absolutely.
Depending on what you're trying to do with your diet, go make friends with those people locally.
Yeah. Cindy DeManch says, Chris, we are all a work in progress. Totally agree with you.
Yes, absolutely. I will be a work in progress until one day I just don't wake up.
There you go. Terry at My Terrific Life says, hey all, late to the party but here now. Deep topic, and thank you to all who served our country.
Yes, and thank you, Terry, for popping in and being here with us and for all the great things you do. So
absolutely.
We love Terry.
Cindy DeManch says, my aha moment was when I got off blood pressure meds after 50 years on them.
Amazing.
Yes, it's so crazy. I love hearing these.
Yeah.
Huang Ling says, my aha moment was many years ago when I did the Atkins diet, dropped weight effortlessly as opposed to struggling to lose weight on a doctor-recommended low-fat diet. I realized I was lied to.
Amen.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, Dr. Adkins is one of the people that was kind of the kick it into gear for a lot of people.
Yes.
That's a well-known name. He was kind of the forefather of what we would now call keto, really, because he was kind of headed the direction of keto before anyone knew what keto really was.
Yeah, very interesting. So. Sean Bradley says, my aha moment for me was when my A1C went from 7.4 to 5.2 in just 6 months.
Love it.
That was enough for me to say, this is what I need to do from here on out.
Yeah, that's super cool.
This is awesome. And Latro says, A1C of 5.2 is the point where no damage is being done by glucose, Dr. Siwez.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's very exciting, super cool.
Absolutely.
Terry, My Terrific Life says, my aha moment was when my mind stopped racing so much and I could actually control myself from eating inflammatory foods.
And that's an amazing thing. When you get that control back, that's a really big breath of fresh air.
It is. Carnivore Dan is here with
us. Hi,
us.
Dan. Good to see you, my friend.
He says, aha moment. 2.5 weeks carnivore. My lifelong depression and anxiety disappeared like magic. I'm sold.
Absolutely amazing.
Yes.
Absolutely amazing.
Carnivore Jerry is here.
Hello, Jerry.
Of course, we love Jerry.
Yes.
She says, my aha moment, when sticking to PhD and had one scoop of Culver's custard, and that night had excruciating leg pain that same night. No more sugar, no more Culver's.
Yep, I understand. So, guys, like I told you, I'm not, like, crazy strict about the carnivore thing. You know, I have spices and maybe the occasional ketovore or keto thing. And every now and then I do have, you know, standard American diet foods, and I know it's not good for me. It's just purely a choice. And it's rare, but I do. And when it was our anniversary, we went out to dinner, and we went to the Mexican restaurant where we had our first date, and I had fajitas, so mostly meat, some veggies, but I did have the tortillas with it, and I had some chips and salsa. And then we went and got froyo.
Yes.
Because it was a thing we used to do, and so for our anniversary, that's what we did. And I got to tell you guys, I laid down in bed, and I'd had my electrolytes, and I still was getting cramps and pain in my legs.
Yeah.
And it's a thing. It's a really good reminder of why I don't do that. So, not suggesting anybody else do it. I'm just saying I've done it, and I totally agree with what Jerry is saying. You have a little bit of stuff that's not good for you, and I mean, and I'm like, you know, I'm going to be 37 in July, and generally speaking, overall, I'm metabolically fairly sound. All things like I'm not diabetic. I'm not dealing with, you know, like severe things like cancer or you know, other severe metabolic issues. And so for me, I can instantly tell that same night. And you know, it's amazing what happens to your body when you put stuff in it that's that hard for it to handle.
Absolutely.
Even being carnivore or ketovore or keto or whatever, 99% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it just instantly, my body is like, oh, that's not good. Well, yeah, that's why I don't do that.
Exactly.
So,
Kitchen Witch 1885 is here.
hello.
Says, my moment was woke up one day and pain in joints gone and dark hole of depression replaced with hope and gratitude.
Oh, Tanya, that's awesome.
Yes. Evelyn says, when I was able to turn off my depression by speaking truth to myself.
Yes.
Big aha. Also able to overcome big physical issues in less time than on a standard American diet without multiple trips to many doctors. God is good.
Amen to that.
Yes.
Amen to that.
Lewis says, my aha moment is a long one, but after doing it right, listening to all the doctors, I was told by 3 of them I was going to die. Now, doing it wrong, 200 pounds lighter and 100% plus healthier.
Amen to that, brother.
Oh, Lewis, that's so awesome, man.
Love it. Lewis is also in the band, and stories like that are just everywhere in the band, and that's why we are so proud of our band members.
Absolutely.
Because they're amazing people.
They are. They're just incredible people. Ellen M is here. She says, just
Hi,
noticed this live. I loved meeting you both at Meatstock and thoroughly enjoyed the conversations because the connections in Christ were real.
Oh, well, Ellen, thank you so much. We enjoyed meeting you too, and yes, the conversations were beautiful and blessed.
Yes. We're happy to connect with you. Thank you for being here. Sandra Del Rio says, about 5 years ago, I started following Dr. Berg and I lost about 80 pounds, which I managed to stick to for about 3 years ago, then slipped and and basically have now gained it all back, I think is what they meant to say. And
That's a real thing.
It is a real thing. I also have to say, in the comments, I didn't, mark them or pull them up, but I think there was probably 10 to 12 people that I counted that were encouraging her and all that. And that's why community is so important.
That is why community is important, because when you slip and you're struggling, the community is what helps lift you back up. And that's why we have the band. That's why we started that group. So if you want more of that, you can come in there and get more of that. And there's behind the scenes and extra recipes and all kinds of fun stuff for you guys. But, that's why I started it, because I need that as much as anybody.
Sure. Yeah.
And we love being able to support you guys. And so, Sandra, I totally get it, but you're in the right place and we're here to help you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. We're glad that you're here.
Yeah.
Frank Peck says, I lost 65 pounds and 4 sizes. It took less than 6 months. The cravings went away the first week. The bad habits were gone in 1 month. Eat to live, not live to eat.
That's great, Frank.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Let's see here. And Darlene is watching on Facebook. She says, thank you for speaking out with this truth.
Yeah, of course. Well, I mean, listen, we got to get this out because there are so many people, they don't even know what keto and carnivore are, or if they have heard of them, they're like, that's a bunch of craziness. I don't want anything to do with that. Like, there are so many people that need help and they don't know what they don't know. Mm-hmm. So we're just trying to get it out there. So guys, make sure to like, subscribe, share, help us spread this as far and wide as possible so we can try to help save people.
Absolutely. Joyfully Orange Deborah says,
hi.
We don't eat carnivore, just keto, but many of these changes happen for us as well. Then we slacked and now we recognize the effects, so we are getting back to better again.
And that's what happens. And we did a live stream, we talked about addiction because her mom works in addiction recovery with first responders. And we were talking all about addiction, and one of the things that when I was doing research on this is that many addiction counselors talk about how relapse is actually part of the recovery process for many addicts, because you have to get better, then go back to it, realize how horrible it makes you feel and how much it ruins things, and before then you go back to it with a newfound sense of commitment.
Yeah.
Like that's and it's not because there's anything wrong with you. Like that's a thing that our brain does. That's how our brains are wired. And so, if that's what helps lead you there and that helps you do this, then by all means, do it. Stick to it. Go for it. And we're here to support you.
Yeah.
So you're doing great.
Yes.
And guys, let me also just make a comment. If you're keto and you don't eat carnivore, you are not less than anyone who eats carnivore.
Well, you took
Carnivore,
my point. Yeah.
Carnivore does not make you special, nor does it make you better than anybody else. And I am tired of the people in the community that think that it does. If you're on keto and you're happy, you're doing great. If you're on carnivore and you're happy, you're doing it great. If you're on either one of those and you're beating other people up because they're not doing it like you can go screw off. And that's the way it works.
Hallelujah.
Yes.
I think as long as you're
doing
eating
great.
A proper human diet, wherever it is you personally fall on the spectrum,
Yep.
N equals 1, it's the same stuff. But you're not just doing keto. You're literally changing your life. Yeah, you're changing your life. You're changing your way of eating. One is not better than the other. It's simply where do you fall on a spectrum. And if you do keto for a while, and then maybe you eventually go more ketovore, that's fine.
Yeah.
But don't downplay yourself because you're keto.
No. I think carnivore, strict carnivore, like 30 days, 90 if you can do it, but 30 at least, is a good thing for everyone to try once.
Yeah.
Because it helps you as an elimination diet figure out if things are really bothering you and see if you really feel better doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You can do just about anything for 30 days. You can muscle through anything for 30 days. But if you don't want to stick with that, that is not in any way some commentary on you not being as good as anybody else. And I know there's some dogmatic people out there that will tell you that if you're not doing carnivore, you're not doing it right, and they'll act like if you're keto, they're better than you. Screw that.
Yeah.
You guys are great.
Yeah.
Enjoy keto, enjoy your veggies. I just don't do that because I don't feel good if I eat too many veggies.
Right.
That's just me personally. But I don't look down on anyone who does. I think it's great if that makes you happy.
Yes.
You know? That's why I'm not super strict with my carnivore, because I don't feel like I need to be.
Yeah. Absolutely. Cindy is here watching. She says, 2 years on carnivore, only 40 pounds down, but healed of lung cancer, ovarian cancer, rheumatoid arthritis, vasculitis, anemia, IBS, and endometriosis. That sounds like a lot to me.
To be perfectly honest with you, I don't think the 40 pounds is even mattering. Like, even if you didn't lose any weight.
I mean, 40 pounds, though, is a lot to lose.
40 pounds is a lot to lose, especially for a woman, because genetically, it is harder for women to lose weight, right? Yeah. It happens slower. It's just, and it's not fair. It just is what happens. So, for a woman, 40 pounds is a lot. Also, 20 pounds a year is basically your average there. That's actually kind of a normal thing if you're trying to lose weight. But look at all of the other stuff. Even if you didn't lose a pound, I don't even think it would matter.
It's pretty incredible, Cindy.
All of those other things are life-changing. Rock on, Cindy. What an inspiration.
Absolutely. Yeah, you guys give Cindy a rock on in the comments. That's pretty cool, man.
Amazing.
Yes, absolutely. Peggy says, my first was 2016 at my highest weight. Was successful for a while, 12 of 23, diagnosed with NASH, and docs said this will lead to needing a liver transplant. Really hit. I have too much to live for.
Amen. You absolutely do.
Yes.
And that's why we're all doing this. And again, that's why it's like, is weight loss good? Yeah. But look at all of these other things that are so much more important, because guess what? You have something to live for. And all of those other things are way more important than whether the scale says you have pounds to lose or not.
That's right. That's right. Brenda says, yes, those wedding pictures. Ooh la la. She likes our wedding pictures. Very sweet, Brenda.
You're very sweet,
Very
Brenda.
Sweet. Sandra Del Rio says, I believe I am an emotional eater, and my mother was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and I became her full-time caregiver, and so my health became a back burner issue. Recently lost my older brother.
Yeah.
And that can be so hard. So
our
rough.
Emotions and our food issues are usually tied together so deeply, and it's a process. It's a learning process and a battle. You know? Yeah. But lean on a community and let people help you.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I'm the same way.
Yeah. Reese's Clutter Kitchen has a question on the 90-second bread. Says, I just bought whey isolate by accident instead of protein. How much extra do I need in the 90-second recipe?
So Risa, I can't really say exactly what you're going to need to do because I've never used it. But you're actually probably going to need less of the isolate than you will of the concentrate, because the isolate is not going to have the dairy carbs, the few little bit of dairy carbs, and the fat. It's going to be just the protein. So you're probably going to need less, and you may have to play around with like the melted butter and the other ratios in there. I just don't know for sure because I've never used it. So.
True. Cool. Let's get back here. You know what? I think our screen froze. Let's see. Can I
just refresh the whole page?
Hang tight. There we go. I think we're back.
Okay, let's double check our microphone and make sure you can hear us okay. Yep, you should be able to.
Okay.
Okay. Let us know.
Your camera went blurry.
Yeah, let us know if we're back.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yay. Okay, we're good.
All right.
See, we just get it done. Cool. Scroll down here. While I'm going through comments, hon.
Yeah.
There's several people. I don't want to like get all into the whole thing of it clearly, but Some people are curious if we had a favorite moment from meat stock or if there was anything like that.
Um, guys, I think my overall experience at Meatstock was basically just knowing that the community was there and um, was showing us so much love.
Mm-hmm.
It was wonderful getting to meet people, and it was so humbling to have people come up and want to give us hugs, take pictures, talk to us, all that kind of stuff. So, um, I think that anything like that, any of those kinds of things, when you experience that, what really matters is what information are you getting that you can take home and you can put into practice in your life that you can use to change your life, and who are the people that are there with you that you're surrounded by, that's the community, the family, that are all going to understand you and support you.
Mm.
I think that's really the most important element of those kinds of things, and I thought it was very humbling to have so many people want to come up and talk to us and give us hugs and take pictures and just hang out. So, and Ash and I got engaged in Gatlinburg, and it
Mm-hmm.
was right before our anniversary that we were there. So the first day when they were doing like the cabin retreat stuff and everything before the actual convention over the weekend had started, the first day Ash and I weren't actually involved in any of the cabin stuff that day. And so we went out, we played mini golf, and we went to Alamo Steakhouse and got a steak for
Yeah.
dinner. And we kind of took just a day for the two of us to go enjoy and go on a date day, because um, we just don't really get much time to do that because we're always so busy. And so we just kind of took some time for us. So that was actually probably my favorite part of the trip, because
Yeah,
I
there
just
you
never
go.
get to do that kind of stuff. But it was wonderful to see the people in the community and get to meet people and just put faces with names.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
yeah.
Um, cool. Nellie is here. Says
Hi, Nelly.
fell hard off and gained more. Plus, and have not been able to get back to the proper way.
Mm-hmm.
Think hormones may be a part of it, but I am miserable. And I know a lot of
Yeah.
people have already offered support and encouragement.
Yep.
But is there anything that maybe you would like to add? Or?
Nelly, you need to go watch the Monday Morning Motivation Live that we did with Alyssa, Dr. Barry's head coach.
Mm-hmm.
She talks all about hormones, women's hormones especially. And the other thing is just figuring out, okay, it's not about self will, power, discipline kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What is your why?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you want to change? Why do you want to fix this? And then one thing at a time, what are you going to change every day? And don't try to do all of this overnight, right? This doesn't need to be I've got to change everything, so I'm going to put 100 pounds of pressure on myself day one,
Mm-hmm.
right? Start making small changes every day, make it a little bit better so that you can be successful instead of feel like you're fighting and failing the entire time. And yes, I think hormones may very well be playing a part, because that's a real thing. So go watch that live we did with Alyssa
Mm-hmm.
and see if you can find some tips, and maybe consider joining the band so we can walk alongside you and you can have support, because it's a lot easier when you have people keeping you accountable
Mm-hmm.
and supporting you and giving you tips and tricks on a daily basis, that when you're struggling you can just come talk.
Yes, absolutely.
Any ideas?
Yes. Also, I would go check out Nisha's YouTube channel, Dr.
Yep.
Barry's wife. She has some really great stuff on there. I would also say Dr. Mindy Peltz
Mm-hmm.
is amazing, a woman's hormone specialist. And I would look into taking Ancestral Supplements, the
Yep.
company. They make a capsule, which is basically liver and all kinds of different animal
It's
parts.
a female blend.
The female blend. It's called Femco. It's a black bottle, pink writing. That has made wonders in my life and so many others.
More coming about that in the future with us.
Yes. So, but just because you're struggling and in the moment, please go buy the Ancestral Supplements Femco. Again, it's the female. They only make one type for females. Buy that, and I think you'll actually notice a pretty big difference in results. So, but yeah, please come back. We're here to encourage you and help you, and we know that it's tough. We really do. So,
and we don't give medical advice, so none of it's medical advice.
nope.
It's just our anecdotal experiences, but those are the things that I would encourage you in, and we're here to support you no matter what.
Absolutely. This is awesome. Coral says, I completely agree. The mental health benefits are absolutely astoundingly amazing on the proper human diet. The lion diet works wonders for my mental health.
I love it, Coral. That's awesome.
Yes. Peggy says, both hubby and I are watching, streaming you to our TV.
Ah, well, thank you so much, Peggy.
Yes, absolutely. Tina Weber says, Chris, I will head on over to your site and look you up on socials. You two are amazing.
Oh, well, Tina, you're very sweet. You are amazing, and we're glad you're here.
Yes, absolutely. Maritza says, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.
Yes, please.
Yes. Terry at My Terrific Life says, you are part of the top 1%, Chris. Next year's your year to win.
Well, I appreciate that so much.
I think you're right. I feel it coming.
Yeah.
Reese's Clutter Kitchen says, I was so disappointed that you made second place with all of our help. So sad. But making it that high is amazing. And without anyone paying, how much you want to bet the one who won got paid votes?
Yeah, unfortunately, that's the difficult thing with something like that is, we're playing that game, we're battling it, but we're doing it the right way. And if and when we can get the community behind us enough to where it doesn't even matter if they buy votes because they can't afford to outbuy us, imagine in the future what that could look like.
Yeah.
You want to talk about making a statement to mainstream media, that's making a statement. And that's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to help people.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And this is so awesome. Caleb's Carnivore Quest gave us a $1.99 super chat.
Caleb, you, my friend, are a wonderful, wonderful human being and great friend, and we appreciate you so much. And if you guys don't subscribe to Caleb over at Caleb's Carnivore Quest, you definitely need to. He is 16, am I right about that, Caleb? Like 16? Teenager, and doing carnivore and sharing his experiences, and it's amazing because we need more young people teaching this to other young people so we can start changing future generations earlier.
Definitely, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, love it.
Dennis says that I enjoyed lunch with you two and Terry. There's not much better than sharing good food, conversation, and laughter with good people.
Amen, brother.
Yes, we enjoyed it too.
We loved it.
I love this. Hadassah Gray says, my first time being on a live broadcast. Keep up the good work.
Well, thank you so much. We're so glad you're here. And just keep watching and supporting, and we'll keep doing it because we love you guys, and we're glad to be here.
Absolutely. I also love the name Hadassah. So
yes,
great.
Very cool.
Cindy DeManges, Chris Nash. Gotta say your wedding pictures are incredible. You two had a fantastic anniversary celebration.
Oh, thank you so much, Cindy.
Very sweet.
It's really just all Ash looking good and me just trying to stay out of the way.
It's like the one and only time I've ever worn a dress. Like, that's it.
That's true. I think I've seen Ash wear a dress twice. Once you were a bridesmaid, and once you were getting married to me.
That's it. Yeah.
That's it. That's the only two times I've ever seen Ash wear a dress.
That's it. KJ, my radical healing rebellion says, my aha moment was when I realized that the lifelong inflammation I had was the result of the healthy diet I had always eaten. For me, no amount of carbs is safe.
Yep. I understand. It's amazing when you wake up to that and all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah, hold that. And Caleb's Carnivore Quest says, I just like to support y'all. That's why I'm in the band.
Well, Caleb, we really appreciate it. And we need the support because we're doing everything we can to help people, and we can't do it alone.
Yes,
so.
Absolutely. Cordelia is here.
Hello, Cordelia.
She says, good afternoon from Albany, New York. Thanks for being on today. Great to be in the community.
Yeah, well, we're so glad to have you here.
Yes, thank you. L&M says, since I have learned about oxalates from Sally K. Norton and now know what was coming out of my head, eyes, and mouth, I have no desire to eat more plants. I'm happy and fully satisfied with meat.
And that's great. That's wonderful, Ellen. I'm so glad. Yeah, if you guys don't know anything about oxalates, it's interesting. And there's beliefs on all sides of this. I think sometimes the truth probably lies somewhere in the middle. But Sally Norton has some interesting information on oxalates, and I know we've experienced what I would imagine are oxalate dumping symptoms, when we were doing this at times, and so there's some cool stuff out there, so you guys go research that. But Ellen, I'm really glad that that's making such a difference for you, and that you are able to make those choices intentionally for yourself. That's awesome.
Yes. Oh, it's super great.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Tamira Wright is watching.
Hello, Tamara.
She says, love your videos and recipes. I love cooking, and it's raised the bar to have so much variety on Carnivore. 51 years old, 50 pounds down, many health issues healing, 2 years Carnivore this October.
I love it. Well, congrats. And I'm so glad that those recipes are helpful for you. They keep me busy in the kitchen and having fun without compromising my diet. And I don't eat recipes like that daily. I mean, I eat them when I make them for videos, basically, but it's pretty rare that I'm like making recipes or anything like that, and it's usually mostly for other people, but but it's fun. It's just it's a nice tool to give some variety and keep things fun.
Absolutely. Crystal Mayberry says, God bless you, Chris and Ash. Y'all are amazing.
Oh, Crystal, you are amazing. We just appreciate you so much.
Very sweet. John Wise says, Carnivore and Keto are both PhDs. End of the story. Do what works for you.
I love you, John. I really
John,
do, man.
John knows what's up, man. He's a smart man.
John doesn't take crap.
No, he don't. That's why we're friends. Maritza says, I'm recovering from a broken ankle and have slipped into sad American diet because my daughter is cooking for me and I am really feeling it.
Yep, I understand, and that's tough. That's really, really tough, especially when someone else is cooking your food. So
yeah,
I
but
get
you
it,
know,
Maritza. But just do the best you can.
It's for a season.
Yep.
Just do what you need to do to get through this,
Yep.
and then you know
heal up and go back to what you got to do.
Yep, exactly.
And we're
exactly.
here. We're here for you.
Absolutely. CB Carmack says, you can eat carnivore or keto, and you are still a hyper-carnivorous species.
Yep.
Keto folks are still our brothers and sisters who are on carnivores to me. Amen.
I love it. CB, couldn't have said it better myself. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I love it. Peggy has a great question. On another topic, can you give us an update on your amazing cookbook?
Yeah, Peggy. So I submitted the first chunk of recipes to the publisher, and I have some edits that I need to make. I'm kind of figuring out what the format is and all the things they're going to want from me, so that once I kind of get that figured out, then I can sit and I can just like massively write through the recipes. And then there's other chapters of the book that I have to actually write and all that kind of thing. And then I'm taking all of the pictures for the cookbook as well. So when you guys see it, all of the pictures, I will be the one taking. So we have a new camera we bought, and I have to learn how to do all that lighting and taking photos.
Yeah.
And, I mean, because it's totally different than filming videos. Pictures and video, two completely different things. So I'm learning how to do all of that, and we'll be starting to write, and we're actually going to hopefully be sending some updated recipes to the publisher within the next day or two. And once I get them sent and they go, yep, that's the way we need them, then I can sit and I can just like chain write just all the way through and just, get lots of recipes done quickly, because I have most of them kind of ready to go. Just need to make sure that what I'm submitting to the publisher will be what they need, so we're not just, wasting time back and forth.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, just keep an eye out, and as we know more, I will post and let you guys know.
Yeah, absolutely. Amy is here. She says, Chris, I love all your recipes, but try to avoid whey. Do you know if beef protein powder is interchangeable with all your recipes? I am not a baker.
Yeah, I think we kind of answered that earlier, but basically, I don't think it is, because beef protein is not like a one-to-one ingredient, and that's the thing. These are such finely tuned, balanced recipes. It's not that the beef protein won't work or can't work. It might be able to, but I've never cooked with it. So short of me sitting and trying to do every recipe and then tweaking every single one to create new versions of it using the beef protein, I just don't know. Generally speaking, the beef protein is going to be drier and more crumbly texture. So if you're using beef protein instead of whey, you're probably going to have to add some dairy, like maybe a little bit of cream. You're probably going to have to add more butter because you're going to need more fat. But I don't know how to tell you specifically more than that, exactly what you would need to do, because I would have to just work at it. So, but yeah.
Yeah, no, cool. And Dennis says, that's why I follow Chris and Ash and join the band. They accept you no matter where you are on the PhD spectrum, and struggling or not, my kind of peeps.
Yes, because we're here to love people, and we're here to make their lives different, because in the end of the day, our lives are not our own.
That's right. And Blue Diamond Bill is here. He says, our favorite mini golf is in Gatlinburg.
Yes, we love the mini golf over there.
Good taste, my
friend. They got a bunch of great courses over there. We always try to play a different one every time we go.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Terry Glass says, good day all. On for the first time, and we'll have to play catch up. You are great. Finding your recipes help us tolerate and enjoy carnivore. Your biscuits are a hit. I make them almost daily.
Oh, well, Terry, I'm so glad to hear that. Thank you so much for being here. I'm really glad that you joined in. That's awesome. And I love them. Cool. I love the biscuits. Those are very good.
Yeah, those are awesome.
That's so
good. Great. And CB Carmack says, the Chris Cooking Nashville Recipes is a great gateway into healthy way of eating. Yeah. Then they discover the way of eating is way easier and most wonderful way of life.
Absolutely. And that's what I talk about. Like, I tell people all the time, I'm the gateway drug to carnivore. Right? Like, if people are like, oh, I could never do that because it's just too restrictive. I have to have all these veggies and almond flour and all these other, baked keto goods and all that kind of stuff. Like, I get it. I totally understand. But if you can use my recipes like this, you might be able to bring your carb count down just that little bit more.
Yeah.
By not using any of those other things. Get some of the oxalates out. Like, there's different reasons you might do that. and it kind of is the gateway into people giving up those last few bits of plant matter and then maybe trying carnivore for the first time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, babe, I think that we are all caught up
Okay.
on comments and all that good stuff. Any announcements or anything else you want to say?
So if you guys didn't see it on Saturday, we had a Dr. Kiltz collaboration video come out. I did carnivore waffle cones, and he showed us how to make his famous Kiltz's ice cream, which is amazing. And that was a lot of fun, and that was really great. So go watch that if you haven't yet. It was a fun video. Also, if you haven't seen it, read the post that I put up yesterday. It's on Facebook. It's in the band. It's on my YouTube community post section. It's everywhere, and I just think it's a really important message. It really matters a lot. And what's really interesting is it's all about being kind and encouraging people. And when you see people struggling, not standing by silently. And it was interesting. I actually had a couple of people make comments on it, talking about kind of having a negative outlook on that post. And Ash and I actually had that conversation of, it's interesting when you say this kind of stuff, there are certain people that I guess identify with what you're talking about and then feel attacked because they're the people that are out there that are not encouraging people. This is why it's so important that we are all encouraging, because there are people out there who are not. And there are people who are really struggling, and we're trying to help people. We're trying to save people, and we're trying to get this information to people who need it. So go read that post, share it with someone who it might encourage, and be the change that you wish that you could see, and be the support you wish you had when you were trying to find keto or carnivore the first time.
And honestly, if I can, I'm going to throw this comment up here real quick. Amy, who just answered the question, she says, I appreciate you guys so much. Agree with others that y'all are accommodating. It's so hard when you have carnivores that attack instead of help with questions.
Yes. And here's the deal. You don't have to share the faith that we have, but I just want to speak from a place that matters a lot to us. There's a biblical principle that says dark cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. We are not going to be able to out-hate the carny Nazis. We can't. But what we can do is we can go set an example, as whether we're keto, whether we're carnivore, whatever it is, we can go set the example that we don't need to beat each other up, and we don't need to hate each other, and we don't need to figure out how we all disagree with each other and section ourselves off onto different teams that are all going to argue and fight. Like, that's stupid. And that whole purpose of doing that is because someone's trying to feed their ego rather than feed the sheep that need help.
Yeah.
So one of the things that Ash and I really try to do is stand for all of the people who feel beaten up and who feel like they're failing and who feel like they're not good enough, because I was those people. I've been that person many times in my life, and I can't change the fact that I felt that way, but I can try to change somebody else who feels that way by being there for them and encouraging them. So read that post and share it, and just go try to help people and try to be the encouragement that people need, because at one point in time you didn't know what you didn't know.
Yeah.
Just like those people don't know what they don't know. And somebody telling you all of this information is how you figured it out. So go be the person that tells that information to someone else lovingly, kindly. You attract more flies with honey than vinegar, as they say.
Yep.
And just, let's work as a community to try to help people, because people don't need to get beaten up over this. You don't change the world by beating them up. Ask Germany in the 1940s how well that worked. That's not the kind of side of history we want to be on, right? Like, let's be better than that. So, our lives are not our own, and Jesus does not tell me that I'm allowed to go out and judge and beat people down and do all this other kind of stuff. I'm supposed to love people where they are, and then encourage them and try to help lift them up to make them something more if I have knowledge that can do so. And so that's what I try to do. That's why we are here. That's what we do. So please like, subscribe, and share to help us get the message to as many people as possible. Go watch that Dr. Kiltz video. Tomorrow, we are doing Backstage with Chris tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. And are you excited for this one?
Yes, I am. Yes.
So what I'm going to do is use my 90-second bread and I'm going to show you how to turn it into grilled cheese sandwiches that then become the bun of a smash burger. So it's going to be a grilled cheese bun smash burger done carnivore style.
Yeah.
It's going to be really, really fun, really tasty. So we're
so
going to
good.
talk about how we do all of that and how we get the smash burgers crispy on the edges and all the fun stuff. So we're going to do that tomorrow night. That's going to be fantastic. We're going to have a good time. That's going to taste amazing. I'm really looking forward to that. We're going to go film a video. Actually, we're going to go film 2 videos today.
Yep.
So we have more stuff coming for you guys there. Watch this coming Saturday because you just might see a face that you'll recognize as somebody else in the community here, and she's awesome and very important to us.
Yes.
And we did a little collaboration because she was in town. So that's going to be really good on Saturday. Mm-hmm. And we got the live stream tomorrow night. The band is linked down below. It is growing all the time, and we would love for you guys to come in there and join in and be a part of everything that we do, and just help support everything that we are trying to do to help as many people as possible. And Ash and I are working on some other things behind the scenes. We're not going to talk about what they are just yet, but we're working on some things that we want you guys to be able to come be involved in. And it's going to be really, really cool. So band members will be the first ones to know. So if you guys want to get early access to knowing what it is we're talking about, come join the band. It's linked down below. All of my other links are down below. We got a whole bunch of work to catch up on because we've been out of town. So we're going to go do that, and we're going to have a good day. I think that's everything. Did I miss anything?
I think you got it all, babe.
Okay.
Good job. Good job.
All right. Well, guys, make sure you go over to ashtaylor.com and subscribe to Ash and listen to her music and do all that kind of stuff. Go check out all the links that are down below here. Go to chriscookingnashville.com. All of the fun things, and more than anything, go out, love somebody, support them, share keto and carnivore, and just be kindness, be love, be what it is people need, because there's a lot of sick people that need a lot of help. And if we don't do it, and we don't do it kindly, who's going to do it?
Amen.
So that's why we do it.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for being here. We love every single one of you guys, and I cannot wait to see you all somewhere down the road, and who knows what's gonna come soon. I'm going to get rid of that.
Sure.
There we go. Guys, thank you for being here. We love every single one of you. This is Chris Cookin Nashville, my beautiful wife, Ash Taylor. You guys eat your meat, show some love and kindness, and remember, you were set up. You're not failing. You were set up. So go take care of that. Love your life. We'll see you here in the studio, probably down in the kitchen and a whole bunch of other places, maybe all around the world and who knows where else, for keto and carnivore and all that fun stuff. And we'll catch up with you guys on the next one.
Yeah. Bye, everybody.
Bye.